Microphone check 1, 2. Testing. Testes. Can you guys hear me okay? We are in the building. Oh, there we go. All right. I can hear you on my cell phone. That's good. Julianne Friend. MDR. What's up? Lumen. That's interesting. As in luminol. Hey, what's up, Daisy? I haven't seen you in a minute. How you doing? Sleuthtastic. I like that. Good morning, everybody. Well, for you out there on the East Coast or in Indiana, I guess it's not morning for you anymore. But for those of us in the Southwest, good morning. Tambi, what's up? Rescue all the dogs. CJK, Anthony France. Don't mind the dogs. I think we're getting new neighbors and they're doing some construction and putting in some grass and stuff. Mike Essery, Anthony France. What's up, fellas? It's always good when I get some of the fellas up in here. MDR says a TV show called Severance, and they work at Alimony Industries. Great show. Severance. All right. The boys are all here. Nice. What's up, Jerry? All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the 2017 presser. We get a lot of information out of the FBI, who strangely basically describe Richard Allen, right? But before we do that, give people a chance to get in here, and we'll have a quick little discussion on some items. One item up for discussion: Kyle Smith. What do we know about this gentleman? So here's a picture of Richard Allen playing pool, December, just 2 months prior to the crime, looking really young, right? And you know, there's a witness that we don't talk about, or a potential witness. Was it Dan McCain who was out there? Who did Derek German run into? It was Dan McCain, right? Well, didn't Dan McCain see somebody on the trails, like right before the girls went missing? So I think if anybody was going to describe Richard Allen as a younger person, it would have to be like somebody who was a lot older, right? Yeah. Compared to Dan McCain, yeah, hell yeah, he's going to look a lot younger. And he might even think of him to be extremely young, especially if he sees him looking like this. So yeah, Dan McCain could be responsible for the younger guy sketch. And if they had it, the young person sketch on the 16th and just never released it to the public, that would make a lot of sense. Like, hey, when can you come in and tell us what you saw? Or when can you come in for an interview? What is up, Jill Moser, Mama Styles? Think we got you, Leslie, Jill Moser. What's going on, everybody? Kirsten? Hey, what's up, Melissa? Here's some random photos I have. I think I grabbed most of these from, I think Twitter, from the day of the search. This was Zach Myers. Looks like 9:36 a.m., February 14th. Looks like they're organizing here. This one's from Rich, WTHR, from the 15th, 9 a.m. Police still at the crime scene and waiting for autopsy results to identify the bodies believed to be those of two missing Delphi teens. Now, if you look at this photo, where they are to the right is the cemetery, and where they're standing is a trail that you've seen Ron Logan take reporters down. But this is there's a trail that leads from right here, where these people are standing, these investigators. There's a trail that goes right down this hill, and it's not far at all. I mean, it is not a long walk right here. You go down this hill right here, and you can see everything. It opens wide open. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at some of those Ron Logan videos where he was taking people down there. So you can see this hill right here. That's where those investigators are parked at, right up on top of this hill. Right up there. So I want you to see how close it is when he turns around. Yeah, Ron Logan's home's way back here, way back there. But if you cross this field and then end up at this point here where those vehicles were parked, this is the trail that comes directly down. I think I have a video of him like turning around and showing where he's pointing. Hold on.
All I can tell you, they were in the center of that tape. If you see it, it goes around in a loop.
And that's your property up to the water? Or
Yes,
where does
they're
your
up to the
line
property.
See, and you can see it's not that far. For Ron Logan, it would just be a walk across the field and then down a short path down to the crime scene. Like steep for him, it's definitely not going to be easy for Ron Logan. But if somebody knew about this trail, I don't even think they would even mess with the cemetery. Why not just take this trail?
They're in the center of that tape. If you see it, it goes around in a loop.
And that's your property up to the water? Or
Yes,
where does
they're
your
up to the
line
property.
up to the water?
They're right up to the property. Half a mile, all the way along the creek is longer this 40 acres.
How far are we from the Monon High Bridge?
It's right over there. You can see it. You walk down a little bit farther. It's about an eighth.
See, Ron didn't even get all the way down the hill. He just walked across the field and came to the top of the hill. And he's out of breath.
A mile on the other side of that creek, and it runs like this.
It's all
this
sweaty.
Ground runs like that. The creek makes a bend. It all comes together right down there across from that brick house. And that's the last pictures they had at the end of the bridge. So how in the world they got all through all that down to here?
So the bridge is right over there?
Yes.
How difficult, I mean, you know this land better, 53 years here, right?
Right.
How difficult is that to get from the bridge to that area?
On this side, very difficult. Very difficult. What you see over there is it. Very difficult.
What's up, Sapphire? Dan? Okay. Dan McCain. Wait. Dan or David? I'm confused. What's up, Emily? Yeah, it was the shorter guy. Who's that? Oh, yeah, David McCain. Thanks, Deb. Good to see you, by the way. What's up, Mike? Yeah, he looks really young. Definitely younger than 45. He looks like he could be in his late 30s or something. Flannel shirt guy. CJK says, yes, he was out there and I heard early on he saw someone. Well, we've heard over and over again from Becky Patty that Derek was down there. Derek showed up around 3:11, between like 3:11, 3:14. He was pulling in. And he bumped into, I believe it was Dan or David McCain. He said, hey, have you seen two young girls? And apparently the guy said, no, but there's a couple down the hill or under the bridge, down underneath. So Derek, to him, underneath is the 505 trail. He's like, oh, well, they went down this trail if they're underneath. That's how you get underneath. You take the 505 trail. Let me see if I have any better images of his property here. Yeah, it seems like a much easier path going that way than going up through the cemetery.
we're finding out that there was things that were said that were not true, or that things that were that.
So here's a good view of his property. So right behind Kim Riley's left shoulder is where those vehicles were parked on that Twitter image. So Ron Logan, in order to get to that trail, he has to walk across this entire field. But once he does, it's really a short distance from where the tree line begins and where they found Abby and Libby. So I don't know if you could even bypass the cemetery and come right out on the edge.
We've uncovered since the interviews that we're just double checking to make sure everything's lined up.
That brought police back to the.
Hey, what's up, Tony? I don't know why, but I still feel weird about the McCains, but I'm probably wrong. Well, you feel weird because they were there at that time. Anybody that was there at that time, I'm just a little leery of. Anybody walking around that area who made plans to be there that day, I'm leery of them. It's just natural. It's because we don't know anything about what really happened. We have very little information to go on.
Delphi property where the bodies of Libby German and Abby Williams were discovered. We broke that story today with that push alert that you got around noon. And we want to stress tonight the homeowner has not been arrested for or charged with the girls' murders.
The homeowner is being held on an unrelated and alleged probation violation. Just hours ago, his attorney reached out to us and told us the landowner had, quote, no involvement in this heinous crime, saying in a statement, quote, I would like to caution the public to avoid jumping to conclusions before law enforcement has completed the ongoing investigation.
Don't
Still,
tell
as
my
Logan
heart,
sits in jail
my
tonight, we've got
achy,
Rich Van
breaky
Wyk, who's
heart.
been sitting outside his house as police went through it today with a warrant. Rich?
Scott, this investigation here, sir, started 6 hours ago. There's no sign of it letting up.
I believe this is
We
March
have the
11th.
FBI, state, and local police searching the house, the garage, the outbuildings, the field
Oh, there you
behind
go.
the outbuildings, even into the woods.
Right there. You see where those vehicles
This
are?
is just a few.
That's the edge of his property. Look how far it is. I have a feeling that this is where Richard Allen came out of the woods. I mean, it wouldn't even be impossible for somebody to park back here, or even park at the cemetery and just walk over here. For all we know, that's why Ron Logan left. He's like, I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm out of here. Maybe he had some kind of knowledge, but I doubt he had any clue.
Hundred yards away from the girls, where the girls' bodies were found.
So I guarantee this is where they took them out, because it is a short walk from right there where these two vans are. What is that? Or a truck and a van. It's a short walk from right there to the crime scene. Very short walk. Yeah, I don't think he was on a bike. I think we pretty much cleared up, Derek, that the vehicle that Brad Heath was reporting belonged to the other McCain, Dan. And he was the one that was parking all over the place. Remember, Brad Heath said, my buddy that works right here in one of these buildings also told me that vehicle was up there at the other parking lot looking over the facilities, as if he parked to get a bird's eye view. So that made sense to me if Dan McCain is parked kind of near a trail entrance or in close proximity to where he can walk right through the woods, and then he's on the trail. So it makes sense that he's parked there. He may have parked all over the place, right? He's an older guy. He's not gonna continue walking up and down the trail if he has to go check out 7 different parts of the trail. He can't just bounce around, you know. Maybe he has tools and shit too. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that the vehicle that Brad reported, an older model vehicle, you know, pretty sure that was Dan McCain. So you got Dave walking, probably checking the bridge, and then you got Dan parked on the street checking something else out. Leslie says, if Richard had that much hair in his younger picture, why is he wearing a ski cap in a pool hall? Probably because he didn't cut his hair. I have a feeling from that point on, from that December photo, he didn't shave at all. I think he was scruffy as hell the day he got on that bridge and attacked the girls. I think it's grown out and his hair was just a mess. See if I can pull up some pictures for give you a good example at least. So I think he looked a lot like this. I think his hair might have been a little bit longer. But you can see it's pretty thick and it's curly. So on the right side is taken from Libby's photo or Libby's video. Matched it to the photo I just showed you. And you can kind of see the scruff. See the thick mustache here and how it comes down at a sharp angle. Just like here. And then sticks out. Just like right here. And then kind of folds. Covered in scruff. 100% that's Richard Allen. Even the colors match. Look. Salt and pepper. And even look where the shirt's kind of coming up. Like matches right here with this. So he definitely had either his clothing from underneath popping up or something wrapped around his neck that maybe he was using to cover his mouth like a scarf. Yeah, I don't know about the fighting part. The fighting, that's what happens when things get processed through the rumor mill. They kind of morph into something. Dave McCain saw Derek. Dan was on his bicycle. I don't know if Dan was on his bicycle. What's up, Bert Blue? Oh, no, it's definitely David. I get him confused sometimes. But Derek's right. He's like the shorter one or the taller one. You got to simplify things for me. Well, it should be January, right? January 3rd or something? January 17th? January of next year should get going. Hopefully he just makes a deal and closes it all out. Tells the investigators exactly what happened. It might even make him feel better. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping he's just looking for like some kind of release. I think that would be it. The truth. Mary Gerard Conservation Center is close to the Monon. It was donated by the McCain's mom. What's up, Digital? Ooh, nice. A day off. Emily says January 8th, 2024, still the trial date. Yeah, January 8th, not the 7th. Yeah, last time I checked, which was like a week ago, it was still the same. Yep, that used to be the McCain property. Oh, nice. Thank you. Emily says, what about the Pat Brown guy and his lost keys? Always thought that was quite odd. Yeah, there's a lot of odd things, you know. I just don't want to jump to any conclusions. But yeah, you got to think, well, this guy lost his keys. What's a good way to lose your keys? Chasing victims through the woods is a good way to lose your keys, I think, or helping somebody hide a body. Question is, did he lose his keys? I know I do have some radio chatter where they talk about that. Is it real? I just don't know what to think anymore. Did he just lose his keys? Why was he the first one pulled into the cemetery is another question I have. He's the first vehicle there. So if he's the first vehicle there, how early was he there? And did he lose his keys when he was bringing, something down to that area? If he's the first one there, it just kind of makes you wonder, like, what the hell's going on? So you lost your keys. You're the first one in there, and you found them? Wow. Interesting. But then again, the dude lived there. Probably was using his common sense. Like, I didn't see anybody really searching back here. It's not hard to get back here. I'll just park right here and go check it out. But yeah, how do you lose your keys? Maybe in a struggle? I don't know. But, things do just happen. Can't get lost in that stuff unless you got something solid, really. But yeah, trust me, I'm right there with you guys on all that stuff. Daisy says, yep, there's a gate between Logan's land there and the cemetery that you can climb over from the cemetery. Yeah, and I remember when Randy went back there, it was just open. He went like a few weeks after it happened, and the gate was just wide open. Yeah, Randy did a great video where he walked from the actual Monon High Bridge, and he shows us that trail that kind of takes you back along the edge of the creek heading towards the cemetery and towards the crime scene. Like, there's a trail back there. There was a deer stand back there. Digital says he denied losing his keys. What's up, V Marie in the house? Good to see you. Yeah, super easy. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult when you watch people kind of hike from the crime scene up through the cemetery. It's only a 4-minute walk, or like a 6-minute walk, not even. But it doesn't seem like the easiest. You got to weave in and out, duck underneath fallen trees. You're kind of going through a ravine, kind of. But when you watch Ron Logan and the way that he brings these journalists down the hill on his end. It doesn't seem very difficult at all, just steep, but it's a wide open trail. The ground has been flattened down. You can tell it's used probably for horses, ATVs, things like that. Yeah, I have a feeling that Richard Allen was on their radar for quite some time, but they knew he wasn't the only one, and they may have known a little bit more about what might have happened. They might even have a witness that we don't know anything about. Yeah, Ron was no slouch, that's for sure. What's up, Beach Fairy? True crime and other stuff. Welcome. Yeah, everyone has like a ATV for sure. Why wouldn't you? Yeah, I think when your property's just so big, you kind of have to. It's like if you have a chore on the other side of your property line, gonna be exhausted. Yeah, I don't know if Dan was on a bike. I don't know about that yet. I'm gonna need to see some proof on that. S. Burrows, digital lost keys or not, his truck was parked at the cemetery for nearly 18 hours. And see, I don't know if that's true either. All I can say is that if you watch the RTV6 chopper footage, which apparently started around like 11. Here, I can find out. Because the pilots sent out a Twitter, or they tweeted, and it has a timestamp. They say approaching the crime scene, and it's from RTV6, and it's in the helicopter. See if I can find it. Nope, don't see it. Maybe I'll stumble on it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they headed out there like right around 11 o'clock. That's when they started. So I don't know how long that truck was out there, but you can definitely see it was the first one there. And if you told me it was there overnight, I couldn't tell you no. From what I know. Good morning, Jamie. Oh, snap. Leslie with a super sticker. Thank you, guys. It looks like I'm slacking on the chat. I apologize. Thanks for sponsoring today's live stream. Emily says, could the arguing couple... First of all, we don't know if anybody was arguing. So we got to start there. Because the person who told the world about the McCains is Becky. And she heard it from Derek, her son. And she says nobody ever said anything about arguing. You know, that came out of the whole DP debacle. People trying to make a narrative fit. Thanks again, Leslie. All right, we're halfway through the live stream. Let's go ahead and take a look at this presser. We'll stop and go. I just think it's interesting that they had the FBI so involved, right? And then now nothing. There's just nothing from the FBI. But they seem to have been spot on.
Indiana and Carroll County. If you would allow.
Now, up on the stage somewhere hiding is Dan Doolin. He's hiding back there. Like, you can't really see him, but he's over here on the right side.
Okay, good morning. On behalf of Sheriff Tove Lizzardby of the Carroll County Sheriff's Department, who is the lead agency in this investigation, Delphi Mayor Shane Evans, I would like to welcome you to Delphi, Indiana and Carroll County. If you would allow me a little bit of latitude here before we get into the meat and potatoes of the press conference to give a couple of thank yous, I would like to do that now. We volunteer because we care. Again, we volunteer because we care. I saw that on a fire truck here in Delphi, Indiana yesterday. And I believe it's a way of life here in Delphi in the Carroll County community. Because the way this community has wrapped their arms.
It's a good point, Derek. Derek says maybe it was a way in and out that law enforcement isn't letting out to the public. That's how they knew it was a local, because it was an off-grid trail in and out. Yeah, if you didn't know any better, it's like you would go through the cemetery. You're like, oh, well, here's a ravine, and I know the cemetery's right up here. I'm going to go this way. But if you actually knew the area, you wouldn't take that route. You would take the Ron Logan Trail. It's a good point.
Around this investigation and provided not just resources for officers as they're investigating this case, but also their willingness to give us information and anything that we have asked, including this church today for the press conference that Pastor Todd has given us. And of course, we want to thank the Delphi United Methodist Church for this facility today.
And this facility is a stone's throw from Richard Allen's home. It's right across the street.
Again, I would like to thank everyone who's given donations and any general support to this investigation. I would also like to thank in advance the person who's going to call our tip line and give us that tidbit of information that's going to lead to the arrest of the murderers of Liberty German and Abigail Williams.
Did you hear what he said?
And I would like to give us that tidbit of information that's going to lead to the arrest of the murderers of Liberty German and Abigail Williams.
Lead to the arrest of the murderers.
And I would like to thank the media for their patience. I understand there's information that you would like to get to your subscribers, get out into the media. But as you know, we have information as germane to our investigation that we have to keep close to the vest because.
Daisy says that gravel road intersects with the private drive entrance. Isn't there another road that you can take off the highway on the other side of the creek? On the Weber side? It's like a dirt road. You can take it back and somehow you can go fishing back there or something. Here, maybe I can see it on the map here. I don't think we have time for that.
This investigation is too important to make any mistakes and give out the wrong information. So again, I thank you for your support and your patience as we go through this case. There are a couple acknowledgments I must introduce today, a couple of folks, department heads that are here. We have Delphi Mayor Shane Evans, Carroll County Prosecutor Rob Ives, Carroll County Sheriff Tove Lizzardby, Delphi Police Chief Steve Mullen, Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter.
Yeah, I believe so, Emily.
FBI Assistant Special Agent in Charge Greg Massa,
Yeah,
and
we're gonna
Captain
listen.
Dave
We're gonna spend some
Burston,
time with
Chief
Greg.
Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police. Obviously, the reason we are here today is to give out information in the double homicide of Liberty German and Abigail Williams. On February 13th, Abigail Williams, 13, and Liberty German, 14, went on a hike at the Delphi Historic Trails. On February 13th, they were reported missing later in the afternoon when they failed to return to a pickup location as a family member returned to pick them up from their hike. After organized searches on February 14th, one of those search parties unfortunately found the bodies
What's up, Kevin?
of the two teens. Evidence in this case has led investigators to believe this is a double homicide, and that's what we're investigating at this time.
No
Also
shit.
shown in front of me is an enlarged depiction of a person believed to be the suspect in this case. We are actively looking.
I think the quote was, Derek, like somebody that would be catfishing on a Saturday morning. Something you would see somebody catfishing in a Saturday morning. To me, that's any older car, like just a drive around car. Nothing fancy. He also used the term older model, and he called it a car. He said older model car.
For this person. We believe this person is our suspect, and we would like any information, regardless of how small or minute you might believe that information to be. It might be the one piece of a very large puzzle.
Hey, Rose.
That helps us get this person in custody. So please call our tip line, 844-459-5786. And again, I would like, as we go through this press conference.
Sorry to hear that, GP. I hope everything works out for you guys there. Prayers for you.
To remind the media, there's going to be information that is germane to our investigation that we're not going to release today. But at the end of the press
40
conference,
caliber,
we will have time for question and answers. So as
audio,
we go through
video.
our speakers, I ask you to please hold your questions.
I wonder what else he could be referring to. Most likely, let's see, sharp weapon, 40 caliber unspent shell, the witnesses, and the video and audio.
To the end of the press conference. So at this time, I would like to invite Indiana State Police
That's true.
Superintendent Douglas Carter to the podium.
Yeah, reddish brown in his beard. Yeah, he has reddish brown type hair. What's up, Nana?
Words tend to escape
TTM.
during these periods of time, so I've only had a couple of other situations in my lifetime.
6 p.m. It's like 8:30 in the morning here.
I'm able to stand before you and say that. Why Libby? Why Abby? Why Delphi?
Because Richard Allen somehow targeted Libby. And I'm assuming that's why he's asking that question. Why? Because these killers were catfishing her and luring her to the bridge, in my opinion. Why Delphi? Because one of the killers apparently lives there and probably helped come up this plan. I believe the other killer had knowledge of the area as well from growing up around that area.
Why Carroll County? Why the region? Why the state? Why even in the nation? I say that
Thank you,
because
Steph.
this is a classic example and a clear example that evil lives amongst us.
What's up, Robin?
To the family, to the community, the region, the state. As a leader of the Indiana State Police, I say I am so very sorry.
Oh.
Resources. It's unlikely that any of you
What's up,
will ever
Slatherings?
see, nor will we ever see or experience again, the level of resources that are attached.
And I just want to remind everybody why we cover this case. I mean, you really have to think about what really happened out there and try to put yourself in the position of those girls and the fear that they felt. I mean, that shouldn't happen to anybody, not even a grown man. I mean, everything and was just flashing in front of their eyes. Like, why is this happening to me? What is happening? You know, it was just extremely awful. I think people forget about that. You need to remind yourself why we cover these cases. I mean, this was a real life monster out there.
To this investigation, to the media. My gosh, all I can say is just give you my sincere thanks. See, this isn't like TV. There's a perception that this can be solved very quickly. Anything that we do can be solved very quickly, but this is a testament that it can't, and we need you. We've needed you since last week. We need you today, and we need you.
See, he's talking to the same people he was talking to in the 2019 New Direction presser.
There's a perception that this can be solved very quickly. Anything that we do can be solved very quickly, but this is a testament that it can't, and we need you.
He's talking to the people that are in denial. The people that know what happened, that are like, well, they'll figure it out. I don't need to involve myself. They got this. That's just not the case, is what he's trying to explain. We need your help.
We've needed you since last week. We need you today, and we need
Friends, family members of the killers, whoever knows who did this, who was out on the bridge, who was acting suspicious that day. A lot of people need to answer for why they didn't come forward, in my opinion.
you tomorrow. And likely we'll need the media all across this nation. So from a simple guy like me to you, I say thank you. To the people dressed funny like me and those that represent the law enforcement profession, please understand we're human beings just like you. I'd stand anywhere in the nation with people standing behind me. And I would suggest to you that
What was on his hand?
thank you. My sincere thanks. See, this isn't like TV. There's a perception that this can be solved very quickly. Anything that we do can be solved very quickly, but this is a testament that it can't, and we need you. We've needed you since last week. We need you
What's up, Miss
today.
Thang?
We need you tomorrow. And likely we'll need the media all across this nation. So from a simple guy like me to you, I say thank you. To the people dressed funny like me and those that represent the law enforcement profession, please understand we're human beings.
Oh, he has a
just like you.
Band-Aid on his finger.
I'd stand anywhere in the nation with people standing behind me. And I would suggest to you that every time something like this happens, a little piece of us dies as well. But I also want you to understand how committed we are as a collective one, and we will continue. This has been briefed all the way
What's
up
up,
to
Marbles?
the director of the FBI, Director Comey, and Greg Mass is going to talk a little bit about that. I've had an opportunity to speak to my boss, Governor Eric Holcomb, a couple of different times
Hey,
about
Katie.
the situation. And every time I do, I see this look.
Katie Owen says, did anybody else see BTK's daughter has visited her father twice recently to aid in a few cold cases in Oklahoma and Missouri that may be linked to her dad? No, but I want to cover that very soon. I know a couple of YouTubers were doing some good coverage on it, but I want to gather some more information on it. Apparently, they may have found another dump site, and they were finding binding and tools that were very reminiscent of the BTK. So I think they may have found another victim, and we'll definitely get into that here soon. If not today, because we have a members meeting later in the evening today, most likely tomorrow morning.
That comes over his face, just like yours and his communities. And that's That's the unfortunate experience of experiencing evil. We're not stopping. The poster in front of you. Someone knows who this individual is. Someone knows who this individual is.
Oh, shout out to Boston Christian for another super sticker, and Mike Essery. Thank you guys for sponsoring today's live stream. That was Leslie. Boston, good to see you, by the way. Good to see you, Mike. Sorry, I'm a little slow on the chat today. It's my bad.
Is it a family member? Is it a neighbor? Is it an acquaintance? Is it an associate? Or maybe that one guy that lives over at that one place that just
Later, Derek.
kind of not right. Maybe it's his jeans. Maybe it's his jacket or his sweatshirt. Maybe it's his shirt tail. Maybe it's his posture.
Shirt tail.
Maybe it's the right hand in his pocket. You see, even with technology, we need human intelligence. In other words, we need you. I'm not suggesting that science, that everything that we can do is science.
What's up, Chopper?
Because we are just getting started. Abby and Libby.
Original badass. There he is. Hello, Sleuth. Always nice seeing you. It's scary to me that this crime could be committed in broad daylight. People near a phone in hand. They used NASA to help with the investigation. Yeah, they did.
Deserve
Good to
us.
see you.
They deserve every single one of us, and not just the people standing up here on the stage that have given so much of their lives to not just this, but to this profession, but each and every one of you. Each and every person listening, watching, or seeing this in some form, we need you. Libby and Abby need you. Please do.
See, he's talking, I think he's talking to a specific people, a specific group that have knowledge of the crime. Or may think that they have knowledge.
Please do not rationalize tips away. Rationalize what you think that might not be important away. By thinking he would never do that to another human being. Or think what I know doesn't matter. Let folks like the people that are standing behind me with such incredible passion and commitment and dedication.
I think he's trying to explain to these people who might know something, like the person that we're looking for, it kind of has two personalities. He's going to have a personality where he's normal here. And I think the FBI does a really good job of explaining this, where he seems normal, but then when nobody's looking, he becomes something else that you wouldn't even recognize. So don't think that the person that we're talking about, can't all of a sudden become a monster.
To this profession, make that determination. Tips are anonymous. Some might not want to talk about it because they don't want to get involved.
Leslie says, I'm wondering if there is a possibility they had a footprint from Richard Allen. Well, when there was a bomb threat over there at the Packers plant, I think it happened. It might even been here. Let me take a closer look. I might have this information on hand. That way I don't misquote it. So we got the B. Phillips guy, right? He was calling in those bomb threats. And he actually had a court date on the 13th that morning that was canceled. So he showed up at 8 a.m. to Delphi and his court was canceled. So I think that had something to do with them collecting this evidence here. This was from Alexis McAdams. Police still sweeping Delphi for evidence in murders. Police brought these boots in to analyze, not key evidence at this point. And look at the date, February 22nd. I think that's the exact same date of this presser, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong.
And you can hear that determination. And you can hear that determination in the Indiana State Police officers' voices, saying they're going to do whatever it takes to find the person that took these girls' lives. And as police continue to sort through hundreds of tips they're getting on the case, they're also still combing Delphi for evidence. What you're looking at right now is
Yeah, that's obviously Tony Leggett.
exclusive video of an
That's
officer
him.
carrying in a pair of men's dark-colored boots. Those were analyzed by investigators inside of the police.
What is that? Looks like boots and something else. Like a hat or something. They probably took those from Garrett Kurtz's locker. Guarantee they suspected him. If they still don't, they might still suspect him.
Because they know the individual. Again, he may be a family member. Probably has a family. No one will ever know. No one will ever know. There's not an agency on the planet better than helping us facilitate this than the FBI. And they're as entrenched in this as anybody. No one
Where
will
are
know.
they? What happened to the FBI?
As poor as this picture is, somebody knows.
Beach Fairy.
And if you're watching,
Oh, wow. That's funny.
we'll find you.
You're going to get your ass.
Who's next? I hate to ask you that question. I'd give my life to not have to.
That's a good point, though. I mean, if he works at the CVS, Libby's sister worked across the street at the Dairy Queen from the CVS. So who's to say wasn't targeting the girls based on just seeing them in the store, maybe seeing them during his lunch hour? You know, who knows really what the connection is? To me personally, I think that they were targeted through using the Anthony shots, maybe even for like some type of thrill kill. But there's not a whole lot of evidence on that right now. So we may be looking at more of a lone wolf who was targeting them and may have had access to their social media sites like Snapchat and things like that, which would make it just as easily available when it comes to their location.
But I know you've asked yourself that very question. We must recognize that. You see, we're all the same. We're all human beings. We must keep our resolve for Libby and Abby, for this community, and frankly, to ensure that good trumps evil. And it will. You're going to hear more in just a minute about what we know. Do not discount the voice that you'll hear. We will stay committed with resolve, very rarely exhibited with human behavior until this conclusion. Please be patient. Become our partners and communicate with us as often as you can. And now from a very humble servant.
Freckled, good to see you. I always thought that Riverbank looked like something might have been dragged up it. Well, I think that's where the deer kind of cross, but I thought that as well. I'll show you why. So you can kind of see where the dirt was disturbed here. This is a shadow from a tree from across the creek. Or from, I don't know what this is, like a blur. But the reason I thought that is right here. It's almost as if somebody used a rope and was pulling something up right here and using this for leverage, pulling in that direction. So that could be one way Richard Allen could have done it. I mean, that's what you do when you're hunting. Basically got to drag it out of there. So I don't know if maybe animals just did this here, chomping at the tree. But to me, it looks fresh, and it could be rope, right? Rope burn. And I think there are some footprints. Look right here. This kind of looks like a footprint. And then here. It almost looks like somebody, like, there's one here, 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 and here. And then maybe another one here. Kind of looks like an indention.
The most blessed guy on this planet to represent the profession that I represent. To Abby and Libby, it's my hope and my prayer that you're now experiencing God's promise of eternal peace.
Teresa Friday. Tomorrow.
At this time, I would like to invite Greg Massa, Assistant.
Leslie says that's why they may have said suspects, because there were so many footprints. It's either that, and I think the DNA that they have, I don't think it matches Richard Allen. So they're like, okay, this doesn't match any of our suspects, in none of our victims. That means we're looking for another person, because we know Richard Allen was there based on just him being captured on the video, and then the witnesses, verifying, yeah, that's the guy that we saw is the same guy that kidnapped the girls. And then he has his unspent .40 caliber shell tying him to the actual crime scene. But if there's more DNA there, that could be the reason why they're like, hey, obviously there's somebody else involved here.
Special agent
Or
in charge for
footprints.
the FBI.
You're right.
Podium.
Good morning. As the Assistant Special Agent in charge, my role is to supervise and lead the FBI's criminal investigations across the state of Indiana. 9 days ago, we had an agent that was participating in the search for the missing victims. And from that moment until this morning, we have stood shoulder to shoulder with our law enforcement partners here. The FBI plays an important support role in this investigation, this joint investigation. I'm very humbled by the response that the resources that are under my direction have.
That's a good point, Robin. I remember that during the Presser news podcast, Tobe Lesenby recognized the BG voice, but couldn't place where he'd heard it. Now, keep in mind, the CVS is right across the street from the sheriff's department. So that's where Tobe was getting his Gatorades, picking up something on the way home, maybe getting a prescription. So yeah, that voice should be familiar to him.
Brought and hopefully the contributions that we are making. On any given day, we have 20 FBI agents that are here providing investigative help, whether that's running down leads, conducting interviews, helping with lead tracking system, providing intelligence analysis support, providing technical assistance. Every night, I update our FBI headquarters.
Sean Bianchi's asking, Sleuth, do you think there'll be more arrests? Yes, I do. I do believe. I think there'll be at least one more arrest.
To our Deputy Assistant Director, and as the Superintendent mentioned, this has been briefed to the FBI Director on 2 occasions. So whatever resource that the FBI has available, whether it's
True crime and other stuff, yes. Sharp-edged weapon. And I'm pretty sure it's just extreme loss of blood. Almost instantaneous.
here in the state of Indiana or nationally, we have brought those resources, and we will continue to do so.
What's up, Justin?
We were committed to working around the clock, as we have been over the last 9 days, and will continue to do so until this case is solved.
Don't know about the weapon. We just know it's a sharp-edged weapon. I'm thinking it's like a hatchet type weapon. Something you can swing one time, and it's going to create a whole lot of damage.
To the members of the
That might even be some of the things that we can see in the waistband of Richard Allen, but I have a feeling that's just extra layers, and there may be another person who was wielding this sharp-edged weapon.
community, when I met with our behavioral analysis unit and their expertise and their experience, it is oftentimes even unwitting that a member of the community may have information that is germane to this investigation. And I'd like the community to go back 9 days and go back to the afternoon of February 13th.
Okay, so 9 days. So this is not the 22nd. They actually had another presser shortly after this one where they released the sketch, I think.
Monday, February 13th. And just think, if you had an interaction with an individual who inexplicably canceled an appointment that you had together, or an individual called into work sick and canceled an appointment.
Yeah, digital law enforcement said you could see the fear in the video. Yeah, I believe it was Jerry Holman who said that to Hannah Shakespeare, right? I think he grabbed her. Richard Allen grabbed, I believe it was Abby, and may have hit her. And that's the reason why they didn't want to release anything. So they had to be, they kind of had to figure out a way to weave in and out of that kind of stuff that was being presented on the video.
Important appointment or a social engagement. And at the time gave what would have been a plausible explanation. My cell phone broke, or I had a flat tire on my car. But in retrospect, that excuse no longer holds water. That may be important. Likely so are behavioral indicators that this individual may have exhibited.
True crime and other stuff says, so Richard Allen had a knife and a gun. I don't know about the knife. He very well could have in a pocket, in a sheath. I don't know, but he definitely had a gun. We know he had a gun. You can hear the girl say it on the video. Apparently, it's mentioned in the probable cause affidavit, and the unspent shell casing is a big part of this case now. But as far as a knife, the only thing we know is that they were hit with sharp-edged weapons. So is that a knife? I don't know. When they searched Richard Allen's home, he had like mini katana swords. I think he had a hatchet of some sort. So I'm not really sure if it was a knife or if that's been explained.
Since the afternoon of May 13th, did this individual travel unexpectedly? Did they change their appearance?
Freckle Joy, in the beginning, they would ask about a hunting knife collection to other people calling tips. And actually, locals were saying that they were going, I think they even went into the CVS. Now that I think about it, they went to the CVS, they went to all of the hardware stores, anywhere that they sold a specific kind of sharp-edged weapon. But I actually believe they went to the CVS. I think there is documentation on that.
Did they shave their beard, cut their hair, change the color of their hair? The superintendent mentioned the clothes that this individual was wearing in the photo. Did they change the way they dress? Did their behavior change? Did their sleep pattern is different now? Did they start abusing drugs or alcohol whereas they would not have? Have they been anxious, nervous, irritable? Have they followed this case and what the media is putting out with a sense that is not normal? Have they
And not including YouTube.
had ongoing discussions regarding their whereabouts on that afternoon or thereafter?
And I think everybody knew Richard Allen was at those trails. It's like it wasn't a secret. That was his key to 6 years of freedom, was admitting to law enforcement early on, before they really released the video or any images or any audio. He went forward and said, I was there. This is what I seen. He admitted to seeing those girls because those girls were going to say, hey, we saw him. But he didn't know that he was on video. I think that's proof. Him coming forward, to me, tells me he had no clue that he was being videotaped. I don't think he would have come forward. Shit, he may have just, who knows what he would have done. It would have been the opposite of coming forward.
Please, if you have that information, call that into the tip line. After this press conference, the FBI will be putting out a series of these indicators on our social media, so it'll be available.
Yeah, I believe multiple people know. I even think there could be people from Delphi that are involved, and then people outside of Delphi who could be involved. I'm not quite sure yet.
Not only to the citizens of this community, but across the state of Indiana and then nationally as well.
Justin says they should have arrested him way sooner than they did. I think they've always suspected him. I think he was at the top of their list. Pretty much they were sure it was him. But I don't think they wanted to spook him. And I think a lot of what was going on with Robert Ives that he doesn't want to talk about, I think has to do with a lot of pressure that was coming from these investigators. They're like, we know it's him. This is what we have. We need you to give us what we need. And I think Ives told him, like, straight up, this isn't enough. I know he says that never happened, where there wasn't a guy that they were looking at, but I think he's lying. Honestly, I think he was lying about that. And I think they've been looking at him from the beginning, but they couldn't get that search warrant. They needed one piece. All they needed was somebody to corroborate one piece of information and point at Richard Allen in a courtroom, or point at him in a lineup, or say, yeah, like, he was covered in blood. You know, they just need one piece of information. Like, yeah, he did dump something in the Wabash River. Okay. Well, we need to find it. So now once they have that one piece, they can go and get their guy. And that's what they did, in my opinion.
We'll also be utilizing digital billboards, and in any way we can spread this message, we will. I'll just finalize my remarks just to say that to my law enforcement partners behind me, to the community at large.
Thank you, guys.
9 days ago, the FBI stood shoulder to shoulder with you. We're not going anywhere. We will be here until this case is solved, and I am confident this case will be solved. Thank you.
At this time, I would like to invite Captain Dave Burston, Chief Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police, to the podium.
That's a good point, Digital. Is there anything not odd
Thank
about
you,
this
Tony.
entire case?
We do have some new information for you
What's
today.
up, Richard?
It's in the form of
Did the police initially think the case was a slam dunk with the video and audio? Well, that's the picture that Robert Ives painted. That's the picture that Kim Riley painted. Like, hey, we thought this thing was going to be solved right away. But the problem is that nobody came forward. You know, when you have a case like this and you think that, you know, the killer, you're pretty sure that the killer's local. You know, all the experts are saying, yeah, this guy's probably local. He did it for power. He's probably changing up his appearance now. He's probably hiding here. He's probably from Delphi, hiding in plain sight. Okay, that's perfect. All we got to do is appeal to the public and we're going to get our guy. But his close knit, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. They stayed quiet. And I think the reason they stayed quiet, because I think Richard Allen came and told them what happened. And I think when he tells law enforcement what actually happened, he may not have been alone, right? He most likely was a lone wolf. We tend to put all this together and create a narrative because we're missing so many big pieces and we don't realize it. But the truth is, he probably was a lone wolf. But then again, things could change that overnight. All it takes is the one person who has all the information to spill it, and that's Richard Allen. He needs to say who helped him, and if nobody helped him, he needs to explain why he committed these crimes. Why did you do this?
An audio file from the cell phone that Liberty German had with her at the time. We're not going to play everything that we have, but Liberty had the presence of mind to turn on her video camera. Again, we're not going to be able to share everything with you.
Could be, Leslie. Could be.
We're going to share this audio clip with you momentarily with the hope that somebody will recognize this voice.
Because, think about it. Richard Allen layered up. There's a reason. Richard Allen, this is a premeditated crime. And that's the only reason it leads me to think other people are involved. Because first of all, there's 2 victims. They got I believe they took the bodies from one area to the other. We know that they were moved and staged. You're telling me this guy did it all alone? He backed into the CPS building. He's layered up so much that even teenage girls took notice. Like, this guy was layered up. That means he was expecting blood splatter. He was expecting to be covered in somebody else's blood. He knew, I'm going to take this clothes off and I'm going to burn it. It's that simple. Okay, what else is down the hill if he's a lone wolf? There's that water. We've learned from Joel Rifkin that when he was doing his, he called it research. So before he went and committed his murders, he did research. And through his research, he learned that killing near water helps hide evidence. And that's what he was saying when he was speaking about the Long Island serial killer. He said, it's not by mistake. Not only that, that area where they're dumping these bodies is familiar to the killer, in his opinion. And we're talking about somebody who killed over 17 women and dumped them in what he called clusters. I'm pretty sure he knows what he's talking about when he's trying to profile these types of killers. And that could explain what was down the hill. Why not just attack Abby and Libby right there on that south end of the bridge? It's extremely secluded. Why not just take care of it right there and get the hell out of there? Well, it's because when you're premeditating and pre-planning this murder, you're thinking about, what am I going to do about the DNA? Well, it's simple. We're going to get them right down there to the water. Because I'm not committing this murder unless I get them down there. Because I've pre-planned this and I'm thinking about the DNA, right? And what did we see in those leaked crime scene photos? A bunch of clothes in the water.
I want to be very clear that what you're about to hear is just 4 short words. Excuse me, 3 words. Down the hill. You're going to hear
4. He's like, no, that's our version has 4. It includes the guy's part, but we're not going to show you that one.
Played 4 times.
I think the reason they didn't play the guy's part is because they didn't know if it was the same person yet. In 2010, Doug Carter says, I want you to keep in mind, this is one person. There are not 2 people speaking. So I think the reason that they didn't provide that guy's part, I don't think they were 100% sure. They probably had to have a specialist come in and provide that information and prove that it was one single person, because it does sound a little different.
The audio quality is not superb, but there's enough there that somebody could recognize this person's voice.
Me too, Mike.
And as Superintendent Carter said, not to rationalize away. If you hear this today and you think, my God, that
100%,
sounds like
Daisy.
fill in the blank, call us. Make an anonymous tip. tell us who you think it is.
Anonymous. Just
Let us
do it.
investigate it. If it's not the right person, they'll just be out a little bit of time and they'll.
And what's sad is a lot of people were all over Facebook talking about Richard Allen and how he came forward and how he was the man on the bridge. One of his pool hall buddies left a comment underneath. Somebody had posted, it was a local news, and they were talking about how they're releasing the image of this bridge guy, and we're looking for this guy, and they're showing two separate images. Well, this person who plays pool with him basically told them they need to print a retraction saying that guy's already spoken with law enforcement. He is no longer a suspect. So I think the confusion that burst in, and Doug Carter and all these people they're trying to get that out of the way for these people. They're basically trying to hold their hand. Like, come on, I'm going to hold your hand. Come with me. If you know something, I'm going to be right here next to you. But instead, it's so easy for them to explain it away. Like, oh, he already talked to law enforcement. I'm not getting involved. Plus, there's no way you think, my friend couldn't have done that. There's just no way. So you start coming to their defense.
Be cleared and they can go on and they'll never know that you called.
So he's telling them, like, hey, even if you think it's kind of weird, because I think what they want is just a couple more witnesses so that they can go get a search warrant. If they have somebody that just came forward and said, that's Richard Allen on that bridge, other than the young witnesses, I think it may have been enough to go get that search completed.
But you may tell us who the right person was, and you could be the person that helps us to solve this horrible crime. Micah, play the clip, please.
Yes, they did, Kim. No, not the day after. So I believe this was on the 19th, right? Or no, I'm sorry. This was on the 22nd. So there was a bomb threat that happened at Packers on the 22nd. There's a press conference that happened on the 22nd. And while they're doing this press conference, the Kleins are in Las Vegas and are top of the suspect list. And they'll be returning in 3 days on the 25th. And that's when they complete their search warrant.
Would you play it one more time?
Wow, it sounds even creepier right there for some reason. Man, it sounds just like Richard Allen, right?
So that audio clip later today will be available on the Indiana State Police website. You can simply go to our website and add the extension /Delphi.htm. There will be information on that website
Good point,
that
see-through.
talks about the reward that is being collected now. Sergeant Slocum will talk more about the amount of money that's been raised towards.
That's a good question, V. Marie. Whose boots were those? I think B. Phillips might have actually worked there. They might have been the guy who called in the bomb threat. It was the second. I believe he did it twice. So he called it in earlier, I think in 2016, and he actually had court on the 13th for calling in that bomb scare. And then there was another bomb scare called in the day of this press conference. And then we had the B. Phillips sketch. So yeah, that was a little bit of a rabbit hole.
Solving this case. And really, money shouldn't be what drives somebody to help solve this. Just a sense of community and wanting to help and to get this person off the street. The
Really,
image that you
Burston,
see
it doesn't
there of the
matter
suspect,
as long as they come
that
forward.
came from
I wouldn't have
Liberty's
said that.
phone. I think many of you had speculated that before. We weren't prepared to discuss that at the time.
Leslie says those boots could have belonged to Ron Logan. Well, these boots were taken out of the Packers plant.
We have more video. We're not releasing it. It's germane to our investigation. And it's important that we spread that person's voice far and wide.
What's up, Andrew?
For somebody that will recognize who that is and will call us and tell us and wanting to help. You can simply the person that helps us to solve this horrible crime. Micah, play the clip, please.
Micah, who lives about 3 houses away from Richard Allen, play that clip. See, when I hear him then play it there, it's kind of like the killer's hesitant, like he's filled with shame, like he can't stop what he's doing. Guys, to get down the hill. Like I'm doing it, I'm getting it. It's already done. Just get down there. Don't look at me. Like I don't want to see the humanity on your face. Like I've already made up my mind.
The clip, please. Could you play it one more time?
No, I'm pretty sure he was working at CVS during the crime. I think he started working there in like 2016. But we are out of time, guys. Got about 3 more minutes. I want to make sure I do my best to catch up on the chat. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, if you guys could hit that like button. And don't forget, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be getting together for a members meeting. Hopefully I'll see you there. Wow, that's what Brian Koberger's facing. Firing squad. It's brutal. Daisy says maybe Kelsey was Richard Allen's target. Never thought of that before. Well, I could just see Richard Allen hanging out at the Dairy Queen for his lunch, and in comes Libby and Abby to go visit their big sister, And then from there, they go stop by the CVS. Oh, yeah, I forgot all about Chris Mathis. That dude was scared. He was really afraid, and he kind of insinuated that Garrett Kurtz could have something to do with the Delphi murders. Christine says, what is really strange about Richard Allen, though, is there is a picture of his daughter on the bridge, and her similarity to Libby is shocking. For him to unalive a girl that looks similar to his own daughter. Yeah, and we know a lot of these killers have an MO, right? There's a pattern that they follow. Triggers, I guess. So, yeah, I mean, that could have something to do with it for sure. Could be why he targeted her. Beachberry says 141 people watching and only 62 likes. Yeah, if you guys could hit the thumbs up, don't be a scrub. What's wrong with you? Robin says, seems odd to me by BG being Richard Allen. Could have a different voice while working. CVS, so locals couldn't pin. I don't know. I think it sounds just like him. We've compared it to other people like Ron Logan, Kagan Klein, and we're like, it's kind of similar, but that's because it's regional, right? They're all going to have kind of a similar accent. But when it comes to Richard Allen, to me, it's like a perfect match. Yeah. For some reason, I feel like that Jordan Sofer case might be connected. We always wonder, and even the experts were saying, hey, if Richard Allen's the guy who committed this crime, there's just no way this is his first time. Big Bird says, how did Kelsey message Keegan Klein to ask if he had seen the girls? They didn't have Libby's phone. So was Anthony Shots on the home computer? Yeah, I think they had all kinds of stuff. They had I think Kelsey had her passwords. So she really didn't need any other devices if she had her password, but I think she did maybe grab an iPad. Mike Patty says something about it where they went back and grabbed all the electronic devices and sat with law enforcement and tried to see if they could piece together where they might have gone. I think it was during that time when she was reaching out to everybody, really. Sees Through says, has anybody ever seen any clothes in the creek on the heli footage? I could not see it myself. I think I found it. I can show you what I found and we'll end on that. So this is what I found. It looks like a pretty good match, but who knows? So you have the searchers right here. And even the shadow kind of matches. If he was standing right here, taking a photo, the shadow would go right in this direction. Kind of looks like the bottom of a shoe here. Or maybe even vice versa, right? I think this is the clip where I found it. And you can kind of see it up through here. And apparently this is actually where the crime scene was. The coordinates are a little bit up here. But I've heard some people say actually if you go to the location, it's right here where the police tape was. So right where these two gentlemen are, or these people, right here. I think the crime scene is more up this way. Right where this clothing. So this might be the clothing, actually. You can kind of see it there. But I don't know. That's the best I could find. Yeah, and there's a reason that they had to wait. They didn't want to mess up this case, so they're kind of taking a risk. They got to be very careful. Very delicate. But that is all the time I have today, guys. Please, if you could, hit the like on the way out. And to you members, keep an eye out. I'll see you tonight for the members meeting. Should be a really good one. And everybody else, just enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks again to Leslie Kingston, Boston Christian, and Mike Essery for sponsoring today's live stream. Thank you guys for supporting the channel the way that you do. I appreciate it. Colt, what's up, Colt? Good to see you, Lynn. The Bishop, what's up? I'm pretty convinced at this point. What's up, Awake? Welcome. Truffles. Actually, germane is something law enforcement uses quite often. It's just new. It's just not usual for us to hear it. Beth, there you are. Good to see you. All right, guys. Sorry if I missed you. Take care, everybody. I'm out of here. I'll see you real soon. Yeah, that's the best I could find. Thank you. What's up, Tony? Yeah, God bless Abby and Libby. God bless all of you guys. Thank you, V. Oh, I think I'm caught up. Bam. There it is. You guys have a great day. I'll see you real soon. Peace.